Oh my goodness. Would you check out this weather? Actually getting a little bit cold, a bit chilly. If you're not already aware, Australia goes into winter when most of the rest of the world go into summer, so we're a little bit opposite like that. But as I have realized in my recent trips to Dongbei in China's northeast, Australian winter really is nothing too fearful. Anything below 15 degrees Celsius I would call freezing here in Sydney. People still go to the beach and go in the water in the middle of winter here in Sydney, so yeah, I reckon we're pretty lucky with our weather. So I've been out of China for 5 months now, which is the longest period of time I've been out of China for like 3 or 4 years. And as you can imagine, I'm really missing it. So I thought I'd make this video to share with you guys some of the things I'm missing about China at the moment. And a huge thanks to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. I'll be back and tell you more about them a little bit later in the video. Okay, so first things first, probably not gonna come as a huge surprise. I am really missing Chinese food. If you've been following me on YouTube and Instagram, you will be very familiar with this fact. I've been trying my best to recreate some of my favorite Chinese dishes at home, but sometimes I'm not doing a very good job. Okay, let's see if it tastes like mental. Oh. It's not good. So I've been coming here a lot. This is actually Sydney's Chinatown, and they have some really authentic and amazing Chinese food. You've got a lot of immigrants here in Australia from all around China, and they've brought their cuisines with them, which I really love and appreciate. So let's go get some food. I'm not sure what we'll get, but it's gonna be good. I've been having the hugest craving recently for Nuro Lamian, or beef soup noodles. And yeah, found a place right here, just Googled it and here we are. I'd say that for whatever type of Chinese you're looking for, you'll most probably be able to find it here in Chinatown. Oh, I love the options. So I feel like there's a huge misconception around Chinese food out there. People that think that Chinese food is the kind of food that you find at the local Chinese takeout, the Mongolian lamb, the lemon chicken, you know the drill. In my experience of being in China and being completely obsessed with Chinese food, I can tell you that that is not the kind of food you find in China. Chinese food is so varied, you can't put one label on it. Every province, every city, every town even, will have its own local food specialties. And that's what I find so exciting about traveling in China, because every new place that I go to is going to have a must-try dish that you can try and love and learn more about the local culture. So that's what I'm really missing. I could talk for a really long time about the topic of food and how much I'm missing it. So I'm going to keep it short and just say that I'm missing it, and just say that I'm very grateful and thankful that here in Sydney we have so many options when it comes to good Chinese food. So yeah, I'm saved. I've been dreaming of this moment for the last 3 days. Look, let me tell you, I've had a few Lanzhou Lamian in my time. I spent quite a bit of time in Gansu province where the dish originates. This is a really good Lanzhou Lamian. But it's not just the food that I miss in China, it's also the culture that surrounds food, and how food is such an integral part of Chinese culture and day-to-day social interaction, as well as conversation. I would say a good 50% of the conversations I have with my good friends in China are about food, about what we want to eat, what we ate yesterday, what we want to eat next week, what we're planning on eating for our birthdays. Food is always the top of the list of good conversation topics. I just love how in China food really brings people together. There's no doubt about it. Even the way that Chinese eat, the eating custom, which is to share everything, put everything in the middle of the table, everyone's helping themselves. It's a shared thing that you do with friends, that you do with family. You don't have your own portion that you eat by yourself. It's a shared experience. If you've ever been in China, you've probably gone to a hot pot restaurant and enjoyed sitting around a table, having the best time, eating your guts out with friends. It's such a social activity. Or meeting up with a group of friends after a big night of partying at 3 a.m. for some lu chua or shaokao, which is basically barbecued meat that you eat on the street, that you have these little plastic chairs that you sit on, and you sit around with a big group of friends, you eat, you drink, you laugh, you be merry. It's just so much fun. I really miss this element of being in China. Another thing I really miss about China is food and drink are a lot cheaper in China. Let's do a little comparison here. I've just come to get myself a hot oolong tea from a local milk tea place. It's the same thing that I would order when I'm in China. In China, this would cost me anywhere from 10 to 13 renminbi, which is like $2, $2.50. This cost me $5. And the same with food. I would generally say there's a 3 to 5 time markup on any dish that you get in Sydney compared to its price in China. So for example, a bowl of rice would cost you 3 renminbi in China. Here it costs you $3. That's essentially a 5 time markup. The other day I went and had a kung pao chicken, a gong ba jiding. It cost me 28 Australian dollars. In China, I could probably get that for 28 renminbi. Again, a 5 time markup. Things are just a lot more expensive here for essentially the exact same thing. I miss cheap taxis so much. For me, from my Sydney standpoint, taxis in China are just ridiculously cheap to the point where I can cross the entire city of Beijing for the price it would take me to go one suburb away in Sydney. It's absolutely ridiculous here, the price of taxis. Probably the same for a lot of other Western countries. Taxis are so expensive, but in China, you can just get into a cab, go where you want, do what you want. You just feel very mobile. And yeah, I just feel like in China, I can afford to be that a little bit bougie, you know, take taxis everywhere. And talking about being bougie in China, I'm also really missing my weekly massage. I cannot afford to have a weekly massage here in Sydney. I would go broke in 2 weeks. In China, massages are so nice and cheap and they're so good. I really miss it. One of the things I'm really missing about China is just walking around and getting that energy, that only in China vibe. Honestly, you can walk in a straight line in a Chinese city for hours and not be bored. Also, the cities are really, really huge, so you can literally walk in a straight line in a Chinese city for hours and not even be halfway through it. If you've been to China, you'll know what I'm talking about. There's just this vibe and this energy walking around there. You'll always be passing interesting things, food stalls, people singing, people dancing. Anyway, go for yourself and check it out. It's really hard to explain. But by the way, how cute is this little alleyway here? It's just off Chinatown and I love coming here and taking photos. And also kind of on that point, another thing I'm really missing about China is just that sense of not caring so much what other people think of you. For example, here in Sydney, I would never go out and do my morning chores wearing my pajamas. I'd be scared of, you know, what people are thinking of me. Why is this girl wearing her pajamas? I wouldn't go in the middle of the street and start singing a song because I like singing, because I'd be worried about what other people are thinking of me and the kind of judgment I would receive. In China, I feel like a lot of those rules don't apply. People often go out wearing their pajamas, which I absolutely love. They're doing them, they wear what they want, they sing where they want, and people singing at the top of their voices in public parks, not worrying about what other people are thinking of them or if people like or dislike their voice. They just do it and do what makes them happy. When I'm in China, I feel like I do the same. I'm a lot more free in my expression. I kind of wear what I want. I take more risks. I do stuff that maybe would embarrass me here in Australia. So I tend to push myself more to get out of my comfort zone in China for that very reason. And it's one of the things I'm most missing about China. I am missing Chinglish or misspelt English or misused English so much. I am always so entertained when I see people walking past wearing t-shirts with really weird English phrases on them, and I'm pretty sure they don't know what they're wearing. I also get a real kick whenever I open a menu and they have English translations of what that food is, and some of them, sometimes I can't stop laughing with how they have translated some of these meals. And also some absolutely hilarious shop names. I have a whole series of these on my Instagram. These are some of my favorites. So yeah, it's just one of those little quirky things about China that I keep my eye out for and always gives me a bit of a smile. Another thing I'm really missing is just that unexpected nature of life in China and that feeling of you don't really completely know what tomorrow's gonna bring. I can safely say I've done way more crazy, adventurous, cool, wacky, strange things in China than I've ever done here in Sydney or in Australia, or probably in any Western country for that matter. There have been so many times in China where I've met this person and they've invited me to do this, and then that has become a day trip that's turned into a week trip that's turned into a lifelong friendship. Like, that's not a chance happening. That happens all the time to me in China, and I feel like a lot of this can be attributed to just the friendliness and welcoming nature of the Chinese people, or 热情 as it's known in China. Just basically that concept of just wanting to do your best to make a guest feel welcome. I'm always humbled by how willing people are to go out of their way to help me, to show me around, to show me the best food, or introduce me to this, or show me that. And I've learnt a lot about China as a result, and also been taken on some pretty wild rides. I never really know what tomorrow is going to look like for me in China. Who knows who I'll meet, who knows where I'll go, who knows what I'll experience. And I hope the same will be for you when you go to China one day. Okay guys, let's take a quick 1-minute break so I can tell you about the sponsor of this video, Skillshare. Skillshare is this online learning community that offers thousands of classes over a wide range of topics. If there's a skill you want to learn, odds are it's on Skillshare. I've been using Skillshare a lot in the past few months to learn a wide variety of different things, and at the moment I'm actually taking a Skillshare class about how to make Insta-worthy photographs. So keep your eyes peeled on my Instagram for some hopefully Insta-worthy photographs coming soon. And as always, the first 1,000 people to click the link in my description will be getting 2 months free worth of Skillshare Premium. That's a really great deal, so get on that. Another little random thing I miss about being in China is just being able to leave the house with just a mobile phone and knowing that everything will be okay. Everything is cashless, everything is online. If you've got your phone, you can live. Last but not least, I'm really missing being in China and being able to speak Chinese every day. I get the most amazing natural high and excitement from being able to communicate in China using Chinese. It's a really cool thing to be able to do. Chinese is the first language that I've ever tried to learn. Obviously I speak English, but I don't speak any other languages. And so for me, it's still a really big novelty to be able to communicate in a completely different language. So I'm really missing that and my day-to-day interactions in China. A question I get a lot is, when am I going back to China? Well, the answer is, unfortunately, I really don't know. At the moment, Australia isn't letting me leave the country, and also at the moment, China isn't accepting foreign visitors. So I don't know when travel will be back on. I don't know what the situation is, but as soon as it does open up and as soon as I am able to go back, I will be doing so. I really, really can't wait. As you can probably tell by watching this video, I really miss China. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you experience some of the same feelings that I do when I'm in China, when you hopefully get to go there one day. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Greetings from Sydney. Bye.